Welcome everyone to the New Voice Live. We think I'm not exactly sure what episode this is. I think we're in 38 or 28 or 29. So for those of you who don't know, we were born in the pandemic. A couple weeks into it, we realized that we were not going to get a chance to be in person for a while, and so we decided to try to start something online. And the hard part about being online, though, is it's not the same as being in person. Clearly, when you're in front of an audience, in front of real people, the anxiety that you feel is palpable. And so we've done everything we can to try to mimic that same sense of anxiety and trepidation here with New Voice Live, and that's why we live stream to YouTube. And after having done it now for 25 plus episodes, I think we've been pretty successful, such that we're now in outreach mode. We're asking all of you to start to begin to reach out to your friends, to your family, to your network of folks, to tell them about us, in the hopes that we can start to grow an audience online. And that's really kind of the point of Toastmasters is um, the skill sets that we're learning are the ability to communicate things to folks in a way that is independent of being in person, being online, whatever form of communication that we are faced with, it's the ability to express ourselves. And if we can do that, that opens up the door to anything and everything we want. And that includes from the very basic stuff of we got to interview for jobs online now, to being in class online now, to even being a teacher online now. So all the things that we have been accustomed to being in person have to translate to this new medium. And that's the place that we've created, is to try to, as best we can, create a place for us to practice that. And as we all know, as you members know, this is not easy. What I always say is that our biggest enemy is the typical Zoom meeting where you kind of glaze out after a little bit and don't pay attention. This is a place where we're forced to try to be entertaining as possible. And so that's why we do all the fancy graphics. So that being said, it's outreach time. We're live streaming to YouTube. Tell your friends. Cailley just gave you the social media branded page, so share that with you. And then going forward, we'll tell you about all the new stuff we have for the new curriculum and new members coming in. Okay, with that said, let's get into the show. I've been rambling on too long already. We've got one speaker tonight, and that is going to be Bhavika. Let's get her information on the screen for us. And Bhavika is doing her, I think this is, let's see, she's on her third speech tonight. Yes, which is get to the point. We're following the current competent communicator manual pathway. So this is the third speech, which is, as I always say, trying to get to the punchline. And so what we're looking for in her get to the point speech is, does she give us a destination, tell us where we're headed, and keep us interested along the way? And her title for the speech is Do Not Disturb. So I'm looking forward to the speech. Let's get Devika on the screen for us. Bhavika, there you are.
Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome back. How are you
Thank
feeling?
you. Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of practicing for this speech, or was this one off the cuff?
I did a little bit of practicing, but I'm not as well versed as I should be, but we'll see. We'll see how I do.
Well,
I will admit that.
that's the way it always feels, it seems like. But I'm sure you do great. You've always done great before. So with that being said, you know the rules. You've got 4 minutes for your speech. With that said, after 4.5, you get the silent Oscar-like cues to gently sweep you off the stage. But you know the deal. So with that said, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. As technology has advanced and become a critical part of our everyday lives, we've become way more dependent on our phones more than ever. I think it's safe to say that most of us would be lost without our phones. However, this has created an addictive behavior that keeps us from interacting with others and being productive. So we must take control of our phone usage habits before it takes control of us. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today I you with a few tips on how you can limit the time you spend on your phone and stay productive. My first recommendation would be to set a timer. This will keep you disciplined and productive. For example, give yourself 15 minutes every 3 hours during the day to check your phone. Set your timer before you start, and once the 15 minutes are up, you can go back to work. Studies have shown that small breaks do actually increase productivity throughout the day. However, it is important to limit phone usage during your break times as it's easy to stay on longer than you expected. By setting a timer, you want to stop and resume working, or review and resume working. And if you decide to take a break longer than 15 minutes, spend the rest of your break doing something else. My second tip is to turn off push notifications on the apps that you're most tempted to look at, or turn your phone on Do Not Disturb. This will prevent you from seeing a captivating news headline or reading a text message, which will draw you into picking up your phone and becoming distracted. This will also keep you from continuing to stay on your phone longer than you had intended. We've all had that time where we pick up to check an email notification, and then before you know it, you're watching TikTok videos and you've lost 20 minutes of your time when all you were supposed to do was check your email. Turning off notifications will keep your mind off your phone and will allow you to focus on your work. Another useful trick is to put your phone away. This might mean putting it away in a drawer and only checking it during those break times, or keeping it in another room so you can finish any of the work that you wanted to do in between that time. This out of sight, out of mind mentality will help you stay disciplined and on track to focus on what's important. Last of all, I recommend creating a rule to put away your phone 1 hour before bedtime. If you usually go to sleep at 10 p.m., by 9 p.m., your phone should be out of your sight and you should take the last hour to de-stress or even watch a TV show. The goal is to forget about your phone for the day and relax your mind before going to sleep. Using your phone before bedtime will usually keep you awake longer than you would want to be, and you should always put it away before as your bedtime approaches, even if it's only for your bedtime. These tips should be incorporated on days when you're not working, maybe on vacations or even on the weekends. The goal is to stay in the practice of limiting your time on your phone. You will see over time that you aren't as dependent on your phone and can make time for other things, like prioritizing those things that you've been putting off, such as cleaning out your closet or reorganizing all the mess in your garage. I hope you all use these tips to take a break from the digital world and increase your productivity. Thank you.
Great job on that, Bhavika. I loved it. I would say the one exception I would make is if anybody's watching New Voice live on YouTube, we'll make an exception for that. But
Of
all
course.
in all, all in all, yes, I think we're all on our phones a little too much. So great job. And we'll get back to you with our formal evaluations. But for now, it's time for our audience evaluation. So let's get Sean to put our speaker feedback form link in the chat, if you would, Sean. And then for you guys who are new again, we're feedback crazy. So if you go into the chat, you'll find a link there to give Bhavika her feedback on her speech. And Bhavika, there's a private self-evaluation for you. And as always, we will put 2 minutes on the clock for these evaluations, and we can listen to Bhavika's favorite song as we do. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have our formal evaluation for the evening now from what is now a longtime member of ours, Rob Price. Always look forward to hearing his speeches and his evaluations. So, Rob, are you there? I think I might have just lost you on the screen.
I hope I'm still here. I can see myself.
Yes, there we go. Still working out the
There
computer glitches, as you can tell. The day we get a perfect computer glitch-free show is the day that we have a big celebration. So welcome back to New Voice Live. You've heard Bhavika's speech. You know the rules as well. You get 3 minutes for Bhavika's evaluation. I'll put her back on the screen for you and then let you take it away. So let me get Bhavika on and take it away.
Hey, Bhavika. Thank you for reminding me. I actually really need to clean out my closet.
Well, at least that was helpful.
No, it's something I've been putting off for a while, and I'm like, okay, I need to do it. And I was talking to my wife about it this weekend, and we did it with our kids, but I have to do it with myself now that it's getting a little chillier in New York. So thanks for the reminder. I loved your speech. It was so relevant. I think that with the pandemic, with what's going on, everyone is on their phones so much more. And I think it was just you got to the point with something that everyone has top of mind. Also, I saw this really scary movie on Netflix the other day called Social Dilemma, and I don't know if you guys have seen this.
That was my inspiration for the speech. Sorry.
It's it's kind of pseudo documentary, but it is a little bit scary, and so I've been thinking a lot about all of these things that you brought up in your speech, and I thought you did it in such a wonderful way, and you really got to the point. There was the 3 topics that you brought up, one being to set a timer, which I recently started doing, and the other being to turn off notifications. And I've done that for most apps except for there's Slack. I have notifications for Slack, and I don't use Slack that much, so it's not that big of a deal. But the other day, there was like some Slack event, and my phone was just constantly vibrating. So thanks. I have to remember to turn that off. And then just putting your phone away. I find myself just constantly like being so connected to that vibration of my phone, and when I really want to get work done, I'm just sort of like waiting for some type of distraction or a text to sort of go in and be like, oh, let me check what's going on Instagram. So I think I really like those 3 points that you brought up, and I am actually going to make more of an effort to just put my phone away sometimes and just have that space to focus. So I loved your speech. I think the way it was constructed was great. I think your points were fantastic. In terms of some feedback, I thought there was like and I don't know if this is from the live stream or what, but there was sort of like a clicking sound in the background or some sort of static. So I don't know if that was you or just through whatever our platform is, but there was that. And then I felt like there was one little moment towards the end where it felt like there was maybe a point where it could have been pulled together a little tighter. I really did like the ending, and I love sort of the call to action. So I thought overall it was a fantastic speech, and I just love hearing you speak in general. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the next ones, and thanks for reminding me again to clean out my closet.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Great job on that, Rob, and great job on that, Devika. So with that said, it's time for us to get onto the question of the day again. And if you get a chance, pop that in the GIF. And for those of you who are new, who are not part of this, we are on the support channel here. So we're looking to create an interactive environment for everyone. So if you get a chance, pop your GIFs in this channel. And then we'll get ourselves restarted with table topics in the next break. So hang on a second. So up next, we have our table topics master of the evening, and that's going to be Cailley. Let me get Cailley on the screen for us. Cailley, are you there?
Hi, I am.
Welcome, table topics master. I'll let you take it away. You're an old hand at this. I don't have to explain anything to you, so take it away for us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd be happy to. I'm excited for this table topics. I will say I signed up for this role this morning because it was empty. And we have some weeks coming up yet that have some empty slots. And I'd like to, ask our members to look at those today, look at the schedule, see where you can sign up. Doing table topics is my favorite role, but frankly, I would love to see some of you all in this role. It's one of, I think, the most helpful roles in figuring out how to sort of run a meeting online. So if that is something that is of interest to you, please go to the sign up form and look for the upcoming weeks, because I'd love to hear, I hear myself talk all the time. I'd love to hear some of you run these table topics. So something to look for in the future. But I picked this question about telling us a story about your favorite injury or scar, your favorite scar or injury story, because I think probably for most of you, you have a story that has come to mind already. It's probably a story you've told multiple times. We usually tell these stories sort of as icebreakers in different situations, or telling our friends about, going on an off-road mountain biking trip where you fell and broke a bone or whatnot. But what I really want to do with this exercise is use a story that you know pretty well and think about ways that you can embellish it. So the word of the day is embellish, because as we're going into creating these meetings to harbor more and bigger audiences, we want to make our speeches as interesting, as engaging, as entertaining for an audience as possible. One of the ways we can start thinking about doing that is to learn more about the art of storytelling. We're here for the art of public speaking, right? But part of public speaking, and sort of my favorite kind of public speaking to listen to, is when there's a story involved. As human beings, we're primed to want to gain information through storytelling. It's how we understand the world. When things have a beginning, middle, and end, we understand them better. We're satisfied with an ending. It's something we kind of crave in life, is for things to be wrapped up in sort of a neat introduction, exposition, ending format. So we absorb information better when we hear it through this form of storytelling. So as you're telling these stories, I want you to think about the way you can structure it so it has a beginning, middle, and end, and how you can use descriptive details to bring in the audience members to get us to engage more. So if your story is about the time that you fell and broke your arm at a school race, or you're doing a three-legged race with someone at a field day, tell us about who that person was. Maybe it was your kindergarten arch nemesis you had to do a three-legged race with. Tell us why you hated that person. Tell us if it was a sunny day. Tell us who was there cheering you on. Was it your Uncle Tom? What was Uncle Tom like? There are these things that bring us in more when we feel like we can relate to a person's story, when there are details, when there's color and adjectives, and when we know the characters. So I know that's a lot to ask for a 2-minute speech. These are just sort of general tips to think about as you're giving your table topic speech today. But I wanted to use a topic that I felt like probably is something pretty easy for you to talk about, so that you can practice some of these skills. I broke my arm when I was in a foreign country once, and I've told that story so many times that I know just the right place of where to make a joke, where to add this detail, where to add this other detail, that it's become old hand to me, and I can tell that story really well. So whenever I do, it teaches me about that storytelling structure that I'm talking to you about today. The more you repeat those stories, the more you kind of get them ingrained, right? And start to understand how the story structure helps you convey your point to the audience. So with that said, that's way more than I need to talk about right now, because now I want to bring you all on stage. So again, the table topics question today is your favorite injury or scar story. And the word of the day is embellish, which means to make a story or a statement more descriptive, more interesting. And first up, we'll bring on stage to tell us her injury or scar story is Colleen. Colleen, welcome. It's been a while since we've seen you, so it's great to see you.
I know, it's great to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Well, I'll let you take it away. I'm hoping that that introduction helped you think a little bit about the story that you're going to tell, and I'm eager to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So first off, I'd like to say that I really do, I appreciate scars and injuries in general. I think that it shows that you've experienced something. And I think in life and in general, it's important to fail, or in the case of scars, fall, because typically we learn something from those failures, from those falls, from those slip ups, and then that shows and builds character for who you are as a person. And as you go through life, it shows that you've had experiences. So when I'm a very accident prone person. I feel like I have a lot of different scars to choose from because I've fallen a lot, but hopefully that also means that I've improved a lot and built a lot of character over the years. But one of the scars, I guess, that kind of springs to mind is actually one that I got over COVID, actually. So over the pandemic, I really did try to take this unique opportunity to kind of make the most out of my situation, and really focus on myself and how I could improve. One of those things was by joining New Voice Live and trying to improve my public speaking skills. And then I also, spent a lot of time with family. And I also wanted to pursue something that I had always wanted to learn how to do, which was skateboarding. So I committed to skateboarding 20 minutes a day, every day. I live in New York as well, and I always see people kind of running around on a skateboard, and I always thought, like, man, I want to be cool like them. And so I took this opportunity to learn how to skateboard, and it was a lot of fun. But there was one night in particular, we were coming home from dinner. I forced my husband, I was like, let's get some exercise, and let's, in Texas, there's much broader streets. So it made for a good environment to learn. But we had just come back from dinner, from Tex-Mex. I had a couple margaritas, and I thought it was a really great time to get back out there and skateboard. So we're going down the street, and I hit a crack in the road, and I just completely flew forward. I scraped up my legs. I destroyed my phone. And so that made for a very humbling walk back to the house. But that's my newest scar and one of my favorites. So.
I relate to that story because I went through a skateboarding phase as well. And I'm pretty sure I was only in it for the fashion sense, but I love that story. I'm also accident prone, so I felt you on that. And I think you did some great descriptive words there. You talked about scraping up your knee and destroying your phone, and you told us about, you unfortunately got on a skateboard after drinking some margaritas. So I got the moment, and I'm hoping and wondering if you'll be on a skateboard soon. Hoping you're wearing knee pads, elbow pads.
I know, always a helmet. But if you guys see me scooting by in New York,
we'll throw out an arm for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that you're taking these new, challenges and risks during this crazy time we're in. So I commend you for that. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for that. Next up is Rob. Rob, we'll get you on camera here. I feel like I know what your story is going to be already, Rob, because I know you to be a biker. But I know you wear helmets too, so we'll see what you have to say here.
Yeah, it's definitely not bike related, although I hope that wasn't a foreshadowing for some terrible
something that might be to come. Well, did something come to mind right away, or have you been chewing on this a little bit?
I was inspired by what you had said initially, Cailley, so I'd love to hear your story later, but you kind of sparked an idea. So
I'll let you take it away then. Let's get into it.
Okay. So, growing up my whole life, I'm a California kid, and skateboarding was just something I did every single day. And I've never actually gotten like a really bad skateboarding accident. And so, I was really inspired to hear Colleen's story and just could relate to that, because it is really such a dangerous sport. And especially in New York City with like cars and cracks, it's definitely I had little scrapes and bruises, but nothing big. And unfortunately, my whole life, I've never broken anything. I've sprained an ankle, and the worst case or worst thing that I've ever had, and I don't know if you could see, is I have a little a scar on my chin that was 2 stitches that I got when I was a kid, and I probably didn't even need to get the stitches. So I've been very fortunate in that regard. Um, but I do have 2 kids, and Cailley's story about being in another country and having an accident happen reminded me of a, a story when we were in Rio de Janeiro with both of my kids. My son was about 4 and my daughter was maybe 2. And we were traveling through Brazil, and we were in Rio, probably our 3rd day there. And our kids were a little sleep deprived, and we were going through, and we were in this shopping area, and my son was having a temper tantrum, and I was pulling his arm, and this is so terrible. I can't believe I'm saying this to all of you, but somehow his arm kind of like came, like there was a little point where his arm sort of separated in his, between where his forearm touches the bicep. Like it kind of like clicked in a weird place, and we were so freaked out, and he was crying and in pain, and we like went back to our Airbnb, and I was just feeling like the worst human on the planet. And so I did some YouTube. We tried calling like some ERs and stuff, but it was just, we couldn't figure it out. And I watched some YouTube videos and figured out this way to sort of like click his arm back into the normal place. And I tried it, and we gave him some ibuprofen, and the next day he was fine. And so thank you, YouTube, for saving a very awkward Brazilian hospital visit.
Talk about DIY dad.
I think I'm a good dad. Please don't.
No, yeah. No. This is only being recorded on YouTube for a child.
Yeah. But yeah, it was terrible.
I mean, I appreciate your honesty, though. I feel like kids are super resilient, and so I feel like a lot of parents, there's some wear and tear that goes into child rearing. So I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to like maybe what you're saying there about not feeling like the world's greatest dad, like you said, but also you made it work.
Yeah, I guess it's a pretty common thing. They call it like nanny arm or something. It's like an area that doesn't develop so early, but yeah, I did not feel good about it, but YouTube saved it.
I mean, man, YouTube is so useful. It's crazy to think about. You can do your own health services by watching YouTube.
Yeah, I don't recommend it, but
no. I love that story. That was great. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, I love hearing these stories, honestly. I think they're like little slices of life. And the more description, the better. I think Rob did a great job with that. Next up is Eula. Eula, can we have you on screen here? How are you?
I'm great.
You're looking great in your red. What a great color.
Thank you.
Well, I'm eager to hear your story. Eula always tells the best stories with a smile on her face. So I will let you take it away, Eula.
Thank you. The question is about my favorite scars. I see scars like a disability. Some disabilities you can see. Some are internal. My scars, my favorite scars are internal scars. However, I look at them as embellished badges that make me who I am today. And as Henry mentioned, the best thing about getting older, my scars has taught me to believe in a saying that I always hear, once a man, twice a child. I decide to take the childish view. I can do whatever I feel like doing, whenever I feel like doing it, a new mindset for learning. I don't care how anybody feel about me when I'm singing in spoiled toe. That's how great my singing is, spoiled toe. I take chances. I relax more. I'm not as stressed. I'm happy. My scars actually made me a much wiser person than I probably would have been. It made me more sympathetic. I love my scars. They may not be pleasant, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I am happy. I am really happy because of my scars, and I'm enjoying life. Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's always the perspective you take, Eula, as a person. I've noticed that about you. Always very positive, always want to turn lemon into lemonade. I love it. Thank you. And then you said a word that I missed. Was it spoiled something?
We usually have soprano and alto. Because I'm not a singer, I sing in spoilto.
I don't know that word. What does that mean?
It's not a word. It's
spoiled
so
tone?
horrible. It's so horrible. It doesn't have a name. And saying I spoiled the song, I just sing in spoilto, not alto, not soprano. It's spoilto. So that's just my word.
It's just your unique Eula tone that you bring to singing. Okay, I come from a family that can't carry a tune, so I know what you're saying. Yep. Got it, Eula. Thank you for that speech. That was fun. Thank you again, Eula. Next up is Annie. Annie, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Haven't seen you in a while. How's it going?
Hi, Cailley. Good. How are you?
I'm well. It's always nice to see you here. And thank you. A couple weeks ago, you were the Table Topics Master, and I missed it. I was so bummed because you had such a great question.
It gave me such an appreciation for the role. So I admire how smoothly it's going. You know, you make it look.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. So hopefully you have a story for us, and I'd love to hear it. So I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. So I'll start by saying that as a kid, well, really never in my life have I been athletic, but when I was a kid and I first saw the New York City Marathon on television, I don't know what made me feel this, but I just thought, someday I'm going to do that. And it was sort of always in the back of my mind. And as I got older, I realized it's never going to get easier. So I better go suck it up and do it. So I started training, and the organization that runs it actually makes it really easy. Anybody can do it. They have to fulfill some requirements and do some volunteer work, and you get into the race. So I fulfilled my requirements. And at the end of that, and meaning that I was going to be able to join the marathon the following year. The end of that year, I re-injured an old injury, a tear in my IT band, which is a major injury for a runner. And I started to panic. I thought, you know, this is going to be my one shot. I was only going to try it once. And going into the training year, I wasn't going to be able to do any running. So I took a couple of months off, and I started way early. Most runners will train for about 4 months for a marathon. And I started 6 months early and just started doing these slow plodding runs, looking like a gimp, being passed by every other runner on the street. And I did it. I trained slow, I trained easy, and I finished the race. And I would say at the end of 20 miles, after 20 miles, I felt the pain again, but everything else hurt too. So I was able to push through, and it didn't faze me. And I think what it really did was help me psychologically get in the game and really set myself up. So it was an experience where an injury that could have really ruined the experience, I think, ended up making the experience for me.
Yeah, I love that story because as I'm a runner too, I have a lot of old injuries as well. And I don't think I will ever do a marathon. So I would love to know from you, how did that feel at the end, especially given that you were working through an injury? What is that feeling at the end of 26.2 miles? I have to know because I don't think I'll ever know for myself.
Relief is the big feeling.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah, you get to the end and it feels weird to stop. You think, you've gone past the point where you're thinking about stopping. You just think about keep going. So when they tell you to stop, it's almost impossible to believe.
That's a surreal moment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I hope you have a lot of pictures for that because that's a real big life event. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Annie.
Thank you.
I love watching the marathon. It's so inspiring. If you're in New York, you should definitely go watch it someday. It's wonderful. So next up is Chavaun, our new member. So excited to see you on the TT list. How are you doing? Oop, we may have you on mute.
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, I will let you take it away. I'm eager to hear your story.
Yes. So I love the topic. So my favorite scar would definitely have to be my scar on my leg. It was just like as if it was yesterday. So being the middle child, I have two brothers, and of course I was the only girl. But I was the type of child that I would ask 1,000 questions. So I was that if you actually open the dictionary, you would actually see my face next to the word curiosity. That was me. So I was such a curious young girl. And so one day I walked into my mother's room and she was getting ready for work as normal. And every day I would go into the room with the same questions. Mom, where are you going? How come you wearing that blouse? Why do you button your blouse all the way to the top? And she would say after the third question, Chavaun, go sit down. And of course, I wouldn't go sit down. I would just stare and watch her just continue getting dressed. And I still had these questions. But after the third question, I kind of cut it off because I said, okay, she's probably going to yell at me again. When I looked at on the left-hand side of the room, I noticed that there was the ironing board followed by the hot steaming iron. And so the curiosity got the best of me. I started to stare at the iron, and for me, the iron looked like a honey bun. It was very attractive and very, very tempting. So I decided to walk slowly towards the iron, and I was just so curious. I wanted to know, well, why does the smoke come out so wiggly and curly? I was just so all these questions started raising. And so it was quiet and I totally forgot that my mom was in the room. And as I was walking close to the iron, I went to go grab it and she said, Chavaun, and I jumped. And next thing you know, the iron dropped. It glazed me on the side of my left leg. And I was just on the floor, dramatic, crying. I was so devastated. And that was the first time I said, she's telling the truth. It was hot all this time. And so with that being said, I would say the lesson that taught me many things, but the lesson I received was that experience is the best teacher. If someone says it's hot or don't do it, you may want to listen to it. Thank you.
Thanks, Chavaun. I think you told that really well in a story format. I have to say, you have a very nice conversational sort of manner of speaking. So it was really easy to listen to. And you described yourself as the child and described what happened. So I think that was a great first table topics at New Voice Live. Congrats.
Thank you.
And I have to know, you described the iron as looking like a honey bun. I'm not sure what I know what a honey bun is.
A honey bun is a delicious snack.
Gotcha. That's in the kind of a similar shape, and that's why. Got it. Yeah, I learn new things all the time. I learn about spoiled tone and honey buns at New Voice Live every day. A new little gem. All right, thanks, Chavaun. That was great. Thanks for sharing, Chavaun. Next up is Alex. And I understand, Alex, you've been taking a vote in the chat over what injury story you should speak about at this table topic. So I'm curious.
Yes, I have. They're not so much scar stories. My scar stories is about how I almost lost my finger playing hockey. And there's one that I hadn't put, how I almost got killed by a swing. Those are more scar stories. This is more of how I almost got knocked out by my teacher. That seems to be the trending one. It
Oh,
was number
okay.
3.
Is that what
So
we're gonna go with? I love that you.
I
I
think
love
so.
that you're doing this democratically. You're letting the
I
audience
think
pick
so.
all the-
Absolutely.
All right.
Vox populi, vox dei. The
That's
voice of people is the voice of God.
very
Anyway,
much an Alex personality.
apparently,
trait.
but I don't know about that. So how I
Go
almost got knocked up by my teacher. Friends, fellow Toastmasters, cherished guests, I am embellishing my story with alternative facts and pure mendacity. I'm going to give you the brief introduction and the brief conclusion at the same time so that you have the takeaway. It is, do not stand beside the class clown. Now, I've been a class clown. In fact, I probably, wherever I am a class clown. But this particular class clown was not the man or the young man or the boy to stand beside, because it was the 1960s. You know, we're tough guys at school, and my gym teacher was Mr. McGinn. Now, I don't know if you know McGinn, but McGinn was not the warm, like the singer Roger McGinn. This guy was a tough little Scot. And he had very hard hands, and it wasn't so kind and feely in Summer of Love, in fact. And my ear hole still hurts thinking about it. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And gym class was going on. Everybody was being smart, a little bit of back talk, a smart mouth, and then a few naughty words. And I guess Mr. McGinn didn't necessarily like naughty words. So he took offense, I believe, at something that this young man said, whose name I can't remember. And I had the unfortunate opportunity, shall I say, to stand beside the young man who was going to get it, boom, right across the face. But Mr. McGinn is very powerful. So as I was standing beside him, boom, I got some of the extra right across my face. Now, the moral of the story, don't stand behind the class clown. But another moral of the story is learn how to box, because that way you're going to be able to, you know, get out of there alive, because school is hard knocks. Well, I don't know how much, because I'm looking at, I can't see the timer anywhere. Boy, oh boy, I know that's, where's the time? Ah, good,
Your
goodbye.
best music, Alex. The perfect timing.
Thank you. Embellishments.
Perfect timing is That was great. Yeah, and I had no doubt you could tell a good story, Alex, because you always use great word descriptions. You know, class clown, Summer of Love, Hard Knocks, wrong place, wrong time. That was fun. I like that you gave us a little bit of a punchline and moral as well. Any idea what happened to that class clown or the teacher in the future? If you
Yep. Yes, the teacher probably is going off, shuffling off the mortal coil that
Gotcha.
Flesh is there too.
Sure.
And the other guy is probably a stockbroker or a politician somewhere in Ottawa. I don't know. Thank you.
Right. I love it. Thanks, Alex. Always the Alex. Thanks again for that. Next up will be Dee. Dee, can we have you off mute? How you doing?
Okay, now you can hear me.
Yeah, and if you move just a little to the side, you're kind of on the side of the screen now. I think maybe if you move to your right. There you go.
Okay. How am I? I'm blessed and highly favored, as is everybody.
As always. All right, Dee, take it away.
Thank you. My story is so horrendous that it won't need any embellishment whatever. It's not about my scar, and that makes it worse. It's my daughter. I worked for IBM, and I was on area staff. That meant that you got to teach not only your customers, but also the other engineers. But this time, it was a giant meeting that we had, and I was scheduled to give a giant presentation. So just before I walked on, somebody said, I had a call from the United Nations International School. That's not a good sign. That's where my daughter went to school. And I understood that she had had some sort of injury or something, and they needed me to come. So, of course, I had to go. But when? Well, I figured, let me just finish this presentation the best I can and get out of here. That's the first thing. This is about the beginning, the middle, and the end, the before, the during, and the after. I dashed to the UN school right after, only to find, after my presentation, only to find that this child had not been treated. She was not out, she was at Bellevue actually. They took her to Bellevue. And they don't treat her unless I'm there. Nobody told me that. I knew that she was well taken care of. There was a nurse with her, but they wouldn't treat her because the mother wasn't there. So that's the second lesson I learned. Unbelievable. Can you imagine your child in pain and you know that it's your fault, that you didn't drop what you were doing and get your bottom there? So anyway, they treated her, they examined her. And the next thing that happened is they told me that she had torn her ischium. Now, most people don't even know what your ischium is. Well, it's the inside part of your thigh. And because she was 11 years old, instead of it breaking, it tore. It's like chopping something. And so a part of it came off. Can you imagine? Off to the side. It didn't come off completely, just to the side. Well, anyway, bottom line is at that point, we were to go home because they figured what to do. And I find that she went and she fainted at the door from pure pain. It's a good thing I dashed fast enough, held on to her, and caught her before she fell. This is about this is about your duty as a mother and in your profession. So what did you learn? I learned a lot. I know what I would choose next time. Do you?
Thank you, Dee. Yeah, that is a scary story for sure. Can you say the name of the tendon again? It's an ischium?
Ischium, Ischium. And it's
Okay.
a torn ischium. Not
Sounds
cool.
very painful. As
Yep.
Alex said in the chat, if it's in Greek, it hurts. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it also taught me that I shouldn't have encouraged her to do what caused the ischium damage in the first place. Her gym teacher asked me to ask her to do a demonstration for the UN school in her, and she didn't want to do it. And I said, just do it, Lisa. So I learned about 10 lessons, mostly parenting lessons.
I was gonna say that's what parenting is, right? One lesson after another. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
It
you learn
doesn't
from
it doesn't come with a manual.
Truly, truly. All right. Thanks, Steve, for sharing. All right, we're moving along here on our list here. Amy signed up for table topics. That's great. I love when guests sign up for table topics. Welcome, Amy, if you come off mute.
Thank you. So,
Hi.
yeah.
Yeah, please take it away for your story. Thanks for signing up.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I was always afraid of riding a bike because I was afraid if I went too fast downhill, I would just totally wipe out. I didn't get my first bike nor even learn how to ride a bike till I was in my early 20s. About 15 years later, I saw an ad in the Sunday newspaper when I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night, and it was an ad, full-page advertisement for the California AIDS ride. They needed people to sign up to ride their bike from San Francisco to Los Angeles and raise a minimum of $2,500 towards AIDS education, relief, medicines for people who didn't have the funds, et cetera. This was about 25 years ago. And I thought, I need a challenge. I now know how to ride a bike. I can ride 5 miles all at once. I went uphill a couple times. I can do this and I need a challenge. So I signed up and I just started working out like crazy. I was only working part-time, so I had a lot of time to do training rides. I did them with groups, I did them with friends, and I really got my courage up. Got all my equipment, biking clothes, kept my same bike that I had just bought to learn how to ride on, and got a nice good helmet now that they required that I have one for the ride, and was going about it. And I had just about 5 months into my training gotten over my fear of riding downhill, and I would ride my bikes, usually using my brakes going downhill, so to slow down my ride. And I was just going full speed on a beautiful spring day, brand new pavement. Next thing I know, I am being put into an ambulance in as much pain as I've ever been in, with a handful of teeth, my face all bloody. I lost all my top front teeth. And I just, one thing led to another, but 2.5 weeks later, I had the courage, and it gave me, I just felt like I had to do this ride. Otherwise, I would lay in bed feeling sorry for myself. Didn't break anything except my upper jaw. And they wired me together, got a full face helmet, did the AIDS ride. When I came back, it took a couple months till I could even get false teeth. After that, I ended up seeing a notice. My husband saw it for a commercial for Polygrip, and they wanted people under age 50 who wore dentures. I applied, went to the audition, booked that commercial, got the commercial, and it paid for implants. So that was like, what I learned was that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and be afraid of what you wish for, you may get it. So that's one thing.
Thanks, Amy. Wow, thanks. I mean, what a sweeping story. I had no idea that was going to end up with you being, I think I heard it correctly, like an actor in a Polygrip commercial?
That was it, except not an actor, testimonial, true
Testimonial,
story.
of course. Yes, yes.
No embellishment.
That story didn't need any embellishment. It was very entertaining and interesting enough. Wow, the phrase handful of teeth is going to absolutely stay with me. You used a lot of really great descriptive words, and I'm amazed you still did the ride. That's incredible. How many miles was that from San Francisco to LA?
145. Did every single mile with it, with no teeth and looking a bit grotesque, but I was doing it because I had lost friends to AIDS. So this was like no big deal, you know?
Wow, wow, what a story. Well, what a great table topic, Amy. So happy to have you. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Wow, these stories have been so interesting. Thank you guys all for participating. I know we're a little short on time. Henry, do you wanna, shall we wrap the meeting, or I have 2 more people on the list that I'm happy to do?
Why don't we squeeze in 2 more?
Okay, great. Excellent. I would love to do that because Tiana is next, also a guest of ours. Tiana, we'd be happy to hear from you. Can we hear you?
Yeah, I'm a little slow getting my mute off, but
that's okay.
Thank you.
I'll let you take it away.
Okay. So I wanted to speak in this meeting, but when I looked at the table topic, I'm like, I don't know what scars, what injuries. I've never broken anything, so I'm like, I don't know what to talk about, and I just decided I wasn't gonna do anything. But then there was one spot left, so I was like, all right, I feel like I can figure out something. So I recently saw a comedian that said that the world is divided into fallers and not fallers. And I am definitely a faller. And so I don't have any broken bones, but I've literally fallen everywhere in all kinds of cities, in all countries. I've just fallen, and I can't wear high heels because I just don't even want to be in the street embarrassing myself because I fall just wearing sneakers. I fell the other day. And so I would say that I've fallen in Paris And so a lot of people can't say that they have fallen in Paris, but I actually fell in Paris and really hurt myself, actually. I've fallen in Hong Kong, and I've fallen in New York, and I've fallen in Pennsylvania, and I've fallen in a lot of different places. And so I would definitely say that I am a very skilled faller.
Thanks, Tiana. I love the twist you took on that table topics, and I think that's kind of a great thing about table topics is you can take it in whatever direction you want to. I love that you talked about being a frequent faller, and you might not know this because you're new to our club, but you can see that on the side of the screen there's a lot of GIFs being posted for you, and so you had a very GIFable table topic answer because falling over GIFs, people falling over, tripping. It's very easy to find those kind of GIFs, and I think that's because it's a super relatable kind of embarrassing moment that we all have. And I love that you took it in that direction. So hopefully you stand upright for the next little while here. And again, thanks for coming to our meeting. So thanks for letting us go a little over here, y'all. I want to do one more table topic because we have Sean on the list, and then we will wrap up the table topics section and be on our way here. So Sean, can you come on stage?
I am here.
I'm eager to hear your story, so I'll let you go right ahead and take it away.
Okay. Okay, Sean Tripal speaking. So, I only have two to think of. 2017. I was coming back from Philly, and I was a passenger in a car driving on the Verrazano Bridge. And as soon as we got onto the bridge, we ended up getting involved in a 5-car pileup. So it sounds pretty bad, but you know, but like in the end, it just turned out that I had a severe case of whiplash. I did end up going to the hospital just to confirm that everything was okay. And as soon as the doctor came in, I said to him, I said to him, regardless, what you're going to say, I have a flight to catch in 4 days. And he was a bit taken aback by that comment. But the reason why I said that was because I had a flight to catch to Japan, and it was something that I was really looking forward to. And a case of whiplash wasn't going to prevent me from getting on that airplane. So I did, eventually get there, and I had a great time. But I just want to end with this funny story. I was in Tokyo at the time, and I was on the platform, waiting to board the Shinkansen train back to our hotel. And as soon as I got on the train, I realized that I was going in the wrong direction back to the hotel. So I had to get off the train that I was on and kind of go across the platform to the other, to the other train. So as soon as I got off the train, I was holding my shoulder, and I was trying, running as fast as I could to get to that train. But I got there, and I ended up having a great trip. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, there's nothing worse than having an injury before a trip. I got on a plane once to Kenya in an ankle cast, and it was just sort of like 2 days before I'd really badly sprained it. There's nothing you can do but get on the plane. So I'm glad you still went to Japan. And yeah, thank you. I found that like all these stories have a real humanistic element to it. So I felt like your story of, just having to get on the plane anyways was definitely that. And I love your train story as well. So thank you. I think we'll wrap it up here. And Sean will put a link in the chat to vote on your favorite table topic that you heard this evening. So take a couple of minutes to do that. And as we do that, I want to take a moment to say hello to one of our other guests that we didn't get a chance to say hi to earlier. Trey, I see your camera's on now, so I thought it'd be a good moment to just say hello to you. If you can come off camera on camera rather, off mute, and just tell us your name, where you're from, and how you heard about this club.
Hey, so I'm Trey Green. I hail from the planet of Brooklyn. Well, I mean, I've heard of Toastmasters before, but I did get the invitation from my sister, Tiana Green, who just told you the ambassador of falling. So
Excellent. I love it. Brother sister combo here. And do you fall a lot too? Is this a hereditary genetic thing?
I think she took all of those genes. So
okay. You're the one who can stand upright. All right, cool. All right, well, very welcome. Great to have you here. Hope you can come again so we can hear a table topic from you.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Trey. So hopefully you've taken a moment now to fill out that form. I know we're running a little behind, so I'm going to kick this back to Henry, and thank you all for your stories.
Great job, Cailley, on that. Yes, I want to say thank you to all of our speakers. It was really entertaining sitting back here and watching it. And look, that's where we're at is we didn't know we were going to be here through pandemic world. And what we've created is something I think is really special. It's really fun to watch. And if you get a chance, I'm going to stress, if you go watch this on YouTube, the resolution is a lot better with the graphics on the screen, all the sound effects and all that stuff. It's really a pretty good show. And that's where we're at, like I said, from the beginning. We are now in a place where we're putting on a weekly show. We got to go find that audience. So the thing about what we're doing here is this is practice, but it's practice to go out to the real world and be able to express ourselves, to use this skill to convince people, inspire people to do the things we would like them to do for us. One of those things is to ask them to come, join, view, be part of the audience. So take the things that we've learned here, which you should all appreciate how good you guys look and how good it is, and apply them to the real world. So let's go find some more members and audience members to come join us. It's fun. It's not only a skill to improve upon, but you also get a really great supportive community here. I mean, that for me is why I keep coming back, is the members that are part of this club have been here for a long time. The new ones that come join only add to the mix. You can already tell it's a really diverse group of people from all over the world, from all levels of ability as well. So we've got some folks who are just kind of getting over the fear of public speaking, which we all have, to some people who are really good speakers. So the platform was designed to be as open, flexible, and available to anybody and everybody. So help us spread the word. That's where we're at. Okay, with that said, I think we've got our votes all tallied and all that stuff. So you'll find the winner in Cailley's Giftastic emails every week. So look out for that. And with that being said, we'll wrap up our show with our grammarian and timer counts. We have Devika, I think, who is not going to be Devika. That's Trey. Let me see if I can get Devika on the screen for us. Bear with me here. The rot's not the right one either. Sorry, folks. It's taking me a little while to find the right person. There we go. The trials of Zoom. There we go. Devika, can you give us, you're doing double duty, so you're doing both a grammarian and timer count. Would you mind giving us a timer count for the evening?
Sure, Henry. Thank you so much. We all started the meeting today, bang on time, 6 p.m. So yoo-hoo to all of us. So most of the speakers spoke within the stipulated time period, and I will, populate the report I have just noted down because that was faster for me. Bhavika spoke for 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Rob as an evaluator for 3 minutes, 10 seconds. Everybody, as I said, spoke, within the timing. Table topics speakers were supposed to speak within 1 to 2 minutes. I guess the stories were so interesting that they would have exceeded the time limits, which most of them did, but that's okay because we all enjoyed it so much. I will, as I said, populate the report. And okay, so just quickly, Colleen said spoke for 2 minutes 40 seconds, Rob for 2 minutes 42 seconds. Eula was much within time with 1 minute 45 seconds. Annie a little over 2 minutes. Chavaun said spoke for 2 minutes 50 seconds. Alex for 2 minutes 30 seconds. Dr. D for a little over 3 minutes. Annie was almost Ami was almost 3 minutes. Tiana was 1 minute 43 seconds, and Sean for 2 minutes 50 seconds. As a grammarian, I really enjoyed everybody, especially the guests who came and embellished the meeting with their presence and great participation in table topics. Really interesting stories, very entertaining, some sad, some serious, but overall very entertaining and interesting. So the word of the day was embellish, as we all know by now. We had some great speeches. Colleen spoke very well, and Bhavika, as the prepared speech, spoke very well. We had great phrases by Alex, Dr. D, Ami. Um, so the grammarian report, Bhavika had 2 R's and ums and 1 so. Rob had a little more than 5 ums and 1 so as an evaluator. Now coming to the table topics, Colleen's R's and ums were a little over 5 and 2 so's, 1 Rob had more than 5 R's and ums, 3 so's, 2 and 2 likes. And I think Rob is winning till now. Eula was really great, and I think she didn't have any filler words, only one. She used word of the day, which was great. Annie spoke used and ums twice, and 1 so and 1. Chavaun, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, said 3 R's and ums, 1 so and 1. Chavaun said so 3 times, used R's and ums 3 times. Alex, I'm always so engrossed in the speech, but I was really listening very intently for some filler words, and I could um, just, uh, count 1 so, and that's all. And you use the word of the day as well. Dr. D, again, the same. I am, always very intently listening to your speeches. I could only detect 2 so's and used word of the day as well. Ami, as a guest, I was very entertained by your speech as well. Of course, I did not see any filler words, only 1 so and 1 word of the day usage. Tiana has used 2 filler words, R's, ums, and 2 so's. Also used 1 and 1 like. Sean used 3 R's, ums, and 2 so's and 2. Thank you.
Great job there, Devika, and thanks again for doing double duty for us on that. And so
Henry.
that's going to wrap up our show for the evening. I do want to say this as well before we take off. One, we're asking a lot of you guys to, again, reach out, but also then to help here with the meetings as well. So we've got some open slots every week. The reason why you guys are coming is to practice. So these roles are all available for you guys to sign up for. So take a moment if you would, and for future meetings, feel free to sign up for speeches and for roles. So there's lots of slots left. If we end up being successful, which I think we will, and getting a bigger audience, these slots are going to be more valuable. So I know from past experience, it's somewhat available and easy now. It will not be when we get a bigger audience. So take this time to fill up those slots and roles with your speeches. And the other thing as well is that we are going to be undergoing some curriculum changes as well. And so we're opening up our leadership team to anyone who's interested in joining and helping out as we move forward too. So if you have any interest, shoot a note in the chat or stick around for after hours, which is going to happen right after the show for anybody that's interested in membership or learning more about the club. Stick around for that and we can answer those questions as well. So it's a plea for you guys in our membership and our audience to get more involved, both in stream as we're doing it, as well as to find some additional members to come join us. All right, with that said, we will wrap up the show. We've got our end credits. Stick around for after hours, as I said. That's time for us to move from the live stream to our grid view and just get a chance to chat and get to know each other. So thanks for coming. We'll see you guys next week.